I've given the opportunity to back out, and this might surprise you, right? That's what I'll end with. Even though they've committed all these crimes, completely unjustifiably, because of their determination to delude themselves, they can kill remotely because then they've got magical powers, despite being left wearing bed sheets as Dresden's carpet bombing the Jews in the fucking hill, right? The fake Jew, right? So, the point being, I've said you don't have to they have to actually pay the deposit now because they've sent me proof this has been paid, and Advogado could then just sue the company. So they don't have to buy the fucking farm. I never thought the farm would sell in such a short period of time, and perhaps they are making the first good deed of their entire fucking life in my direction, and they do want me to save the world. And if that was the case, as I already put on Facebook record, I don't want to expose these specific people because I have got a lot of good out of them, admittedly always with the dagger hidden. For example, I fucked Marie McCallum a few times. It was a nightmare, but you know, that counts. You know, they sent a prostitute to me, hired another prostitute for me to observe, but it wasn't the same. They weren't transparent like she is, and it was the same barbed shit. And you know, they've given me loads and loads of information to go on, and some top secrets and things like that. So, you know, I would have kept their secrets if they'd fucking come correct. They had 2 years to do so, but instead always wanted to titillate themselves with hatred, and this guy in the fucking wheelchair constantly obsessed with deluding himself in a competition he's in alone, where he couldn't have more fucking assistance. None of them could. 15% of the whole fucking country helping these stupid fucking pieces of shit to target the exact same people for fucking years in crimes only they're committing against innocent fucking people to delude themselves. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, right? Or in his case, fucking no legs. Yeah? No legs must be good. Yeah? Or at least in 1 or 2 of their cases. And, yeah, the point being, no, I'm fucking assisting them, showing them everything I'm fucking doing on the computer, and they're still so retarded and determined to declare themselves winner. When I carve in stone what they're going to fucking do, they still fucking do it, as though that must get the negative reaction, that must get the negative reaction, that must get the negative reaction, that must get the negative reaction. Their every waking thought, they have shit for their fucking brains, which is why you ask an actor, could they rely on them? They have the exact same thoughts. I tell them there's this fucking religion, all unite in this one tar pit trap, right? And betray you and then be carpet bombed, and they're the ones who are then betrayed, but they don't really fucking care. Yeah, if you've got a hollow fucking brain, no meaning to your life, what does it matter you're on the imaginary winning team when you're not really? What's it matter? Even if people consider you to be Elvis and Marlon, they had dreadful fucking lives. He died as fat as a fuck, you know, or a fucking burger drip. She died with a finger up her arse. An alcoholic, making an arse of herself in public on a regular basis. Yeah. And these Ashkenazis behind the scenes try to rework it. You know, so she doesn't look as big of a fucking arse. Right? So the point being, what they want, they still wouldn't be fucking happy. Yeah. And that's it. At the root of all malignancy is sadness. Yeah. I've never felt loneliness, boredom, envy or jealousy in my life. And so what I'm going to say is, so I don't presume, you know, with all these, you know, like legalised evil and criminalised innocence, obviously any one of them can just contact any one of your police farce, sociopath workers, your kangaroo courts, and just say, he said homophobians, and he said anti-Semitical. And next thing, my Advogado would have to start a large case against them specifically, and the other bit parts who think they're magically protected somehow, when she can take them to Lisbon or Porto and prosecute them as part of an ongoing case where these wee pricks would break under interrogation. I'll tell you why. Because Louis shat himself when he heard one of my chickens behind him. Because he knew he was up to no good. Chickatita. Priceless. And so, cut long story short, what I'm going to say is, irrespective of whether they buy the farm or not, if they want to be kept out of things, they would still have to pay the 3,000 deposit. Otherwise, if they hadn't have done that, they wouldn't have had to pay 3,000, right? But the point is, that 3,000 would just then go towards me getting to fuck, and I'll sign the farm over to somebody else, and I'll fuck off to Africa. And the point is, if they want to buy the farm, it would literally, the words "get to fuck" would be above the planet. It would be so surprising. Maybe they're into that. Either way, I don't want to fucking expose them anymore. I even wrote to the police force today and said, look, I don't want to expose these pricks anymore, but I can help, basically help you with your investigation into all these missing people and the children who are going to be kidnapped tomorrow. That's the 13th of the 10th. And they'll be tortured, as will the females, men, and pets of these people until the 28th, until they then start being murdered right through to the November the 1st. Fact. Humans, right? And babies, nepophiliacs, right? I heard them the first time. So, I didn't get it right the first time. So, what I'm saying is, to those beasts, as I said all that time ago, there's only one way to do things, yeah, right? In this regard, I don't do any fucking deals with the devil. You know, I don't expect anything. I don't dismiss anything. I cannot be surprised by the range of machinations I've already discussed with Advogado. She's ahead of me in some things, actually. But the point is this, right? Hold that thought. Right. Daniel has given the impression he's dying in excruciating agony, right? And obviously, I'm dead set against him being a cannibal. Right? When he made the donation, the name was Curious Annabelle. Hint, hint. So, if he doesn't go through with murdering these children, it's not a deal, it's the same thing. They come correct. Right? I know the entire police force are corrupt pieces of shite. Right? I've read the Telegraph once. And the point is, I know Serpico in the 70s was shot through the fucking face. Right? And I take his word for it, right? And my own experiences of that shit, you know. If he cries off all that shit, despite all those crimes, all those sins, their sins, they've tried to commit against me, even though they may be responsible for having stolen my cat and my chickens, some of them, and also might be responsible for having a hand in killing my dog. Yeah, straight out of a tree on the day my dog was gone. Right? Angel appears in a fig tree. You know, an angel from heaven alights into my arms. You know, the letter E appears, an enormous, 100-foot high letter E. I've seen clouds all my life. I'm 700 years old. I've never once seen the letter E in the sky. Not even close. This was a distinct letter E, 100 foot high, about 200 feet off the ground. I've never seen a cloud that low, let alone it being the letter E, 100 foot high, with the moon coming down as a full stop, how I always say my name. I'm almost spoiled with these moral gifts, so I walked back into the villa thinking nothing of it, just thinking it was a coincidence. Then I spoke to my divine guide, and I was encouraged to go out again. Gone. And the length of time it took me to walk in and walk back out, and 100-foot high cloud, distinctly, like kind of like the Monty Python look to it, where it's kind of bulbous, and in the sky, 100-foot high, 200 feet off the ground, the moon coming down to make. And I walked away before the moon got to the bottom of the E, right? Walked in to here, walked back out again, right? It was gone. It's gone. Completely gone. Right? And all I'd done was look to the heavens and ask Buggles, have I been a good enough? Spielberg, get to fuck, right? You're ruining a good moment. Shite fucker. Anyway, so, I was going to say director, it's more accurate. And I asked Buggles, you know, what's a good enough owner for you? You know? And this thing about psychopaths, they're obsessed with stealing your animals. There's people in England who have their horse they've looked after. They delight in this. Watching you build up to that horse is good enough to put in a race or whatever. And then killing it, then gutting it, breaking a limb, eating the organs, drinking the blood, whatever they're involved in. They're just perverted, primordial sub-Neanderthal sex offenders. They run all of your entire country, all the rest of it, everything I've said. So, that shite who are watching what I'm doing, all the way through it, I thought they would do something like that. You know, they'll kill your dog or they'll steal your cat. I put Peace, my cat, in a video, a couple of videos ago, and I thought to myself that they'll probably try and steal Peace. This was my thought. And then one of the things that Thomas Bradley wrote on Facecrook evidentially was, the word peace. Right? Once again, these retards delude themselves that because they've thunk something in spastic land in Skid Row, these pebble shits, if they pebble shit long enough along this length of rectum, there's no way you'll know. And that will double your trauma because the spastic was more knowing than you. It's thought of a number and you must know the number the spastic's thought of. Because then when it does a number on you, pretend proves it. That must get a negative reaction. They are as thick as shite. Right? My cat agrees. The point is, I don't personalise anybody else's sins, as I've said. I don't think, what you're groomed to call gay, stealing my animals, compares in any way, shape or form to the suffering I've read about this week. Specifically of the man whose family were decimated by the Chernev explosion, who himself was groomed by the Ashkenazi to do that. Especially since it's mindlessly predictable, and animals to me are just visitors. I love them to the best of my ability, and they either stay or they go. These wee dirty putrid garbage bags. That would be so cruel. This is brilliant. So that's what the thinking of these cannibals, Thomas Bradley specifically, that's what his thinking is. Daniel has said he's different. Somehow he's magically not involved in that. He's more of a sense of humour. Marie, she got a local horse charity. When I say charity, they murder the horses, right, as part of satanic sacrifice. They stress them out in the units and send them dehydrated. And so that when they get to the Black Mass, they already have the 4 or 5 neurochemicals to drink the blood. So, she got that charity to phone me. And they tell them the exact same thing. Prove you're a unitard with shit for your brains. He must care about you. And he is what we are. They're cowards. So, I just deconstruct them live, diplomatically. No reaction to them whatsoever at all. Cut them off at the pass. Leave them deluding themselves. That's the first time she's done that. I love you, darling. She just brushed up against me there, out of the blue. You've not done that before. I love you so much, Angel. Yeah. I'm human and you're an angel, and I love you. I love you. Don't worry, there's milk out there. She's an outdoorsy girl. She's never brushed up against me like that when I've been standing before. She sometimes leaps up on me. She's very outdoorsy. I love her so much. Anyway, however, I understand more definitively. I don't need people to actually commit crimes against me to know definitively X amount of things. The point is, I know more about how to protect what I'm doing in Africa because of what they call power. And all it just means is knowing just how much you've got to protect the foundation of everything you're doing. I love you, baby. I'll be milk for you in a wee minute. So, they may be responsible for kidnapping my cat. I'm not saying they've killed it. Just like the local provincial Eurotrash or backward criminal scum. They stole my sheep twice and just keep them. However, I was going to Africa anyway, so they accidentally did me a favour. And their evil means they'll look after the sheep because it excites and delights them. They're backward. And they can be criminal shite because that good breast, bad breast carry on. When they declare you as being the bad breast, any crime is not a reflection on them. So they're a good paedophile, they're a good cattle rustler, they're a good pathological liar, they're a good rapist, they're a good murderer, they're a good thief, they're a good malicious gossiper, they're a good bigoted, mindlessly prejudiced scumbag, they're a good sex offender, they're a good sub-Neanderthal, anti-human, genocidal maniac. You couldn't make it up. So, again, I don't know what involvement Daniel has been in trying to commit crimes against me, what attempts he's made to be cruel. Thomas Bradley has revealed himself as being the scum of the earth. His own mother said, I think about Thomas, have no more to do with him, unless I'm getting them mixed up. Maybe they're even the same person. That's how vague they've been. The point being, when the horse bitch, the horse murderess, phoned me up, who I was onto from the start, but she still stuck to it with this horrible pan-faced cow, wee Scottish inbred slag, with her. And they stuck to this plot, and it was just like the exact same shit, man. They're unitards. Again, I deconstructed a dwarf they sent to the farm. Told him, put your cigarette out. You know, you're a fucking wino. And he just went, yeah, I'm a wino. And went away. Then I was supposed to see this guy on Facebook then riding a horse up to the screen. This is the lengths they go to bullshit themselves, hoping to traumatise you when they're 100% transparent and carving in stone in front of their eyes what they're going to do. So, like I say, they're under no obligation to buy the farm. Obviously, if you've got 15% of the country under your spell, you can pretty much very easily buy the most beautiful farm in the whole of Portugal. You know, not a bad deal, that. And it wouldn't be very hard for me to do my best to try and save as many children as possible. That's all I care about. And so, to conclude, long overdue, you cunt. Aye, alright. So, the thing I was going to say was, she's eating a cracker. Good, fuck Polly. I love you, darling. She agrees with me. So, unfortunately, they would still have to pay the 3,000. That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, the Advocado's got something to go on. She'll kill me for that. And I've not phoned America, which would be unleashing the dogs of war. I think I just have a suspicion about that. So I just wanted to expose how pandemic the police farce are. But for all I know, they've already got these people under the thumb because they're all connected and they can easily just show up. We are the police and you're under arrest, basically, which they did 4.5 years ago. How surprising. So, and I chose to be arrested, although this time I would just say, no comment, no comment, no comment, you know, and she would then start this case against them. They would be extradited when they're like this, and their bones are sticking out through the fucking top of their scalp, you know. So, I don't want that to happen to them. I told them my decision was 4.5 years ago, simply being them is punishment enough, as far as I'm concerned. I'll not interfere with the return of the moral law. They can't deny it. They're degenerates. From a long line of weak arseholes, they come off, yeah? And they're determined to get worse until they're producing blobs. Come on! Yeah. So, if Daniel is dying in excruciating agony, is he the hunk of burning love, or is it somebody else? Who's the one that's burning up and deludes themselves they can be psychologically abusive and hide it in plain view? Who's that? Right? Because your shit's garbage. If you wanted, for any reason, me to be comedic towards you, to help you, me to be poetic when I write about being in Africa, yeah, you're at liberty to read these things, see these things. I've come at it from every angle I possibly can because they're just determined to think the exact same thought. Me, 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 me. However, even after all the crimes, I don't hold it against them. I'm glad it was me and not somebody else. That's the only thing you would hear me say me about, really. Because I don't think other people could have withstood them, and I think they would have got carried away and gone on with those people. I know they're guilty of being serial killers, cannibals, culpable homicide, gang stalking, all sorts of evil shit. However, I've hit them hard. I've fucking enraged them, hurt them, and done things that should have been impossible. And yet, that wasn't my intention. My intention was just studying. Unitards. I could end it there, but I'll just say, so they're under no obligation to buy the farm, obviously. If they want to do so, well, don't imbalance it. Think about what I call the prodigal equation. Yeah, if you've suffered an enormous amount in infancy, you compare those two lives, right? Compare the life you would have led being a piece of shit compared to the life you would have led with extra abuse, an even lower piece of shit. The difference between these two is the prodigal equation. You can flip it, right? So that's where you get the story of the prodigal son from. That's why it's lasted so long, because if somebody is really, really bad person, but they've got some extra badness that genuinely wouldn't have been the case, genuinely, if they hadn't have been exposed to what I know to be fucking heinous, I think that might be the case with Danny Boy. Then, flip it, you know. I love you, darling. And what happens is, you get the shortfall, you get that distance between those two handed to you, like a stemming of the flow of the tide, you know. And yeah, you'll still get fucking what you deserve coming to you. You can't escape it. You did it. You know, it lasts for eternity. Okay? However, the more of a unique person you prove to be, going from that to that, you'll see it. It's unmistakable. So if you are going to go through this, then don't imbalance it, you know. Obviously, I have absolutely no expectations. I'm expecting, you know, what my advocado has told me all about. And I already knew most of that. There's some things she said I hadn't thought of, you know. One of them was, she said, what about the taxi driver, right? The courier guy? He comes and then takes you away, and a group of his lads jump you, and then you're taken away to be held a prisoner until the 28th, she said. I said, well, I'm not bad with knocking fuck out of people, you know. It's just people mistake my kindness for weakness. I would just have to snap his neck, you know, and move to Africa immediately, you know, which is easy to do, actually. Go there, sell everything you fucking own, and do so. Because that's the extent great men have to go to try to help children in your culture. Because it's run by all that shite, yeah. Angel just knocked over my light pad. I love her. So, it's my fault for imbalancing it. And that's the point. If you're going to do good, don't imbalance it. You can't do the black and white thinking, right? Do the good, do it selflessly, and then don't be bad. Otherwise, you just might as well not bother, you know. You know, you're cancelling it out, and I know you shouldn't be doing anything for any return, but however, I'm saying, do the good, you know. And I'm not saying buy my farm. They were under no obligation to do so. Wouldn't surprise me either way, no matter what happens. It's just, if they go in the direction of fucking with me in any way, shape or form, and she comes in, and then these people are extradited, and the problem is with Portugal, you spend a year to 3 years in a holding cell, essentially. Which I wouldn't, you know, because I can get out of it easily, which I've proven again and again and again and again and again, because I'm dealing with unitards. Right? So, but it's not a deal. Yeah? Never do a deal with these devils. If they want to donate to you, then I've underscored anybody who bought this farm would have to be good here, at least good, if not selfless. Selfless, they'll see miracles. Good, well, they'll just be a selfish person living off the fruit of the land. Bad, I've seen it live, they'll be punished almost instantly. So, no matter what, my advocado thinks they'll try and pull a fast one between now and then they think that Louis, who's been rumbled from start to finish, won't be able to be prosecuted in Porto or Lisbon by my advogado, which he would, and then it starts a massive court case against Stephanie, as I call him, the local Dutch so-called homosexual, Louis, his company, and then that goes on from there to another case against these 4 people whom I've documented and contacted every police force outside of America who speaks English, and unsurprisingly no reply, because according to her they may be already conspired into making a decision against you. However, you never know. Nothing would surprise me. Well, as I put in writing, the only thing that would surprise me, I think for the first time in about 20 fucking years, is if they actually bought the farm. You know, as I put in writing, above the planet, you just see the words, get to fuck, get to fuck. You know, however, I don't anticipate such a transaction because they're serial killers, cannibals, paedophiles, and they're obsessed with trying to cause people post-traumatic stress disorder until they commit suicide. However, as I put in writing on Facebook, when the evil doers were reading it, through different people's profiles. I don't want to expose them specifically anymore. It's just like, I don't favour any specific piece of shit, no matter what crime they're committing. I don't believe myself to be the only person these scumbags are committing crime against. You know, I don't believe the crime I'm witnessing, you know, is far worse than the crimes I've read about just in the last few days, you know. And what I've done selflessly, and I didn't need to, as I mentioned, the simple equation of, you know, 40 quid versus 200 quid. It's not much, but in Africa it goes a long way. And plus I could have got an extra 10 grand just like that. However, I wanted to experiment in other ways, and because of that I saw so much more. I don't need to see anything else, you know. There's nothing else to see, nothing else to know, you know. It's just a terminal cancer. Go there, sell everything you own and join me in Africa. When nippy affiliates think you're the scum of the earth, right? And when cannibal serial killers are sending me money and offering to buy my farm, even in theory, what the fuck are you doing to prove them wrong? That you're not a piece of shit that deserves it, has it coming, brought it in yourself, and are asking for it. So, to put a tin lid on it, if there is, Stephen, fuck off. If there is somebody who's dying and, you know, wants something to do with me, yeah, even after all your crimes, all your sins, all your evil, yeah, if you come correct, yeah, there's nobody left to contact, you know, about you. And if you're dying, I'm leaning against the wall.